So today we're going to be looking at the Prime Heroes. I didn't realize these actually even came out, to be honest. These are now in packs, I believe, for this week. I don't know if they are continuing to be in packs, but we have got the Prime Origins. Now, these can be also got if you have one from your pre-order. For instance, mine was Carragher. They will be automatically upgraded to that next one. So if you did manage to get a Hazard, a Maicon, a Matuidi, a Yaya, then you're pretty much solid for this next one. A lot of people did end up with a Carragher by the looks of it, or Guti was quite a popular one. And in terms of some of the upgrades, there's some actually decent ones. We've also changing how we're doing this. Let me know down below what you think. Should there be an extra one in here? We've got top meta, we've got usable, future evolution, which might be a little bit harder for these, but in the near future with kind of strikers, with wingers, there's definitely going to be some that could really fit into this and be a semi-decent option for some of the lower rated cards. But even these, like Carragher for instance, I'm not going to get rid of him just yet, and maybe there would be a future evolution for either extensive heroes or just a generic upgrade for him in the future, which would be very nice. And then obviously because some of them are just... If you need coins in FC25, lootbar.gg has you covered. They are the cheapest trading platform on the game, 8 to 10% cheaper than any others, 8% off if you use the code JT11 at the end at checkout, plus you get 5% extra on coins, with the fastest delivery system going, used by many FC25 creators such as Zorky, Manny Plus, and even pro owners. So if you need any coins, head over to lootbar.gg, make sure JT11's in the promo code, and hopefully you enjoy. Useless in general. So let me know if that is something you'd prefer, or do you like the S plus the S? Because I just think at this point in the game, there is so many cards that hit that top rating at the moment that really... I'm just putting a lot of people in the S category. There's obviously top meta with the S+. You're looking at an R9, a Ronaldinho. But then there's so many in for instance, the centre-back role that would fit into a usable top S that are very decent. So there's not a good enough kind of distinction between them. Let me know. So let's go straight into it. First and foremost, let's have a look at the most expensive, because that is always the interesting part. And in this... obviously, Yaya and Hazard are going to be the top, which was pretty you could have probably guessed that, to be fair. One that I am also going to say is at the bottom, we have got Yapstam as extinct at 1.1, and also Hamsik, who is apparently extinct. He is extinct at 650, which is fair enough because his base card is 420. So realistically, I'd be looking anywhere between... I'd say about 850 to a mil for him, if I'm being honest. I think that's where he would lie. I don't think he's over 1 million coins, in my opinion. But if we are looking at someone like a Carragher, for instance, he was a decent card to start with. Like, he had himself the Playstyle Plus, which was nice. Pace was a little bit lower, so you had to go with the defensive journey with him, and then maybe have either somebody who's just as solid, like a Virgil next to him, or like a Saliba that would hold the fort for him. Now, he kind of gone out of the team pretty quickly. It took like a week until we got Virgil and Saliba untradeable, so that was kind of him done, really. So really, when we're looking at this version of him, we are looking at the evolution portion. Now, he does have the 88, which is fantastic. So it's a nice little upgrade from obviously the previous version. And I want to say, actually, he has the other one. I don't get why we don't have the other version of him here. Let's see if we can find him. Because if we go into players, I don't understand why they've not got the first origin in here as well. So if we go into here, unless they've got rid of them. Yeah, so they have. So what they've done is they've just upgraded them, because now they are technically not in the game, because if you had them, they're now one up. They're just not in the game anymore. So we can't even see the upgrade, unfortunately. But if we do go based on the normal hero anyway, I think it's a nice upgrade for him. I would say for me, if I'm looking at him here, he's a good centre-back. But like we was already alluding to, there's so many centre-backs. It's unbelievable. Like, even in just the Prem alone, you're looking at Saliba, you're looking at Virgil, you're then looking at a Gabriel. There is so many you could go. Romero, great option. Even with the Block Plus, Romero still holds his own. LaCroix as a great mode mastery. Very hard to get, which is fair enough. Konate as a free card. So even then, I would still probably go for Carragher. more in that future evolution and being very, very harsh on some of them because I don't want everybody to go into the usable. And the biggest debate I get that I saw on another video is, well, pro players can use them or pro players have that ability to be able to do it. I'm like, we're not looking at pro player tier list here because realistically they can use anybody. We've had that argument for many, many years that you look at hashtag Harry, or what is he now? If he's not, I can't remember who he's with, but Harry Hesketh, you know he can use anybody. He could use a full team of bronzes, of golds, of whatever, and still manage to get more wins than if I used a God squad in champs. So realistically, that debate just doesn't work. They are head and shoulders above the rest of us. They are in that top 0.1 to 0.5% of the game, so they can't really be utilized in an argument, and sometimes some playstyles work better than others. When we do look at a Yaya Touré though, he is going to be one of the more meta cards, as we know in pretty much every FIFA. It's a great upgrade from the card. Obviously in terms of stats, like, it still is a very, very good statted card in this. The finesse shot is a great change. It did have the incisive pass, so I can kind of see where people would prefer maybe the incisive, because realistically, I would play him more as kind of a DM centre mid rather than a centre mid cam, but that is where the finesse shot would come in. But to be fair, he will go up and down. That is kind of the big portion with him. He's a very expensive card. He's got wonderful stats across the board. I think you could just go out and out with that shadow, 90, 90 and 91, which I can imagine a lot of people are going to do an anchor, really? I mean, he gets more physicality, but I'd rather just go for the pace. He's already got the 91 physical. I suppose he gets the 99 strength, a bit more jumping and aggression, but I mean, the shadow's looking pretty good. Regardless of what chem style you go with, he is going to be more one of the meta players that we know about. I think that one was quite easy to guess. Now I've got to find the card. He was obviously going to always be that top end sort of card. Another one that is brand new to the game that I think is definitely worth a look at a minimum is Roberto. 830,000. We're looking at him as a left mid, a left back, or a centre mid, and also now a left wing. He still unfortunately has got his technical, but he also now has got the 4-star 5-star or 5-star 4-star 5 skills for weak foot, which is a fantastic upgrade. They are starting to do that with a lot more cards as well, bringing that weak foot skill move to an average of 4-star, 4-star at a minimum. But then also looking at his stats, I'm thinking I'd kind of take him away from a left back and kind of be looking either at that left mid, but then also the centre mid could potentially be the journey. If you wanted to go for an anchor or something to get the defensive physical up, the centre mid would be more than a normal position for him. But I do think then if you kind of look at maybe kind of like a hunter, or even, to be fair, a finisher might be a waste on him because he's already got some incredible dribbling. A hunter would just give him as much maxed out pace and a little bit extra on that shooting as well. You could potentially go Deadeye, I suppose. Again, he's got relatively good passing. People are going to suggest basic, artist, or shadow. So what does the basic do? We end up with 91, 84, 91, 94, 83, 85. I mean, that's pretty good as well for the centre mid role. Gets up a bit of everything. We got the artist, which would give him explosive, 94, 94. I mean, I would like the finishing to go up if I'm looking at a left mid, left wing sort of role for him. And then people said the shadow, obviously 97, 87. Again, kind of more of your centre mid vibe. I think for me, he's a very usable card. I don't know if I'd quite go top meta, because if I'm thinking left mid, I'm thinking Vinny, I'm thinking the Thunderstruck Rashford, a Ronaldinho, even a Neymar in that sort of role. Then in the centre mid, we've got a decent option as well, as Yaya Touré being one of the best ones, Hullet, Vieira, Matthias, then going on to players of kind of like the top end Bellingham, being very, very sceptical with him because it kind of needs a very nice balance upgrade, if anything. But then I'm thinking top meta is got to be like the top 5 to top 6 cards. So I'd go very usable, maybe even usable and very usable. But I think the distinctions, again, could be a little bit more. I'd say he's definitely more than a future evolution, obviously. If then we throw in Hamsik, I think is how I pronounce the name. I'm hoping I get it right. The 91 Prime Heroes. 4-star, 4-star rather than the 4-3. Fantastic. Little pace upgrade. It's a double upgrade on the stats. Kept the aerial plus. She is 5'8", so whether the aerial plus has that much of an advantage is going to be a big question. I think in strikers as well, she's going to be very difficult to get in there because we have had some very good strikers recently. If you've not already got an untradeable Son, Griezmann, dare I say Mbappe, he's going to still be very difficult to get regardless. But then we look at SBCs of a Robbie Keane and Nunez. We have got Isaac and Colin Mwane as Thunderstrucks. Very, very good options in themselves. Then throwing in a Griezmann upgrade if you really wanted to. Then other strikers like... We've had another one. I think he's still in. Harry Kane as a player of the month has always been good. Raul, again, a little bit expensive compared to his normal version, but is still up there. Peugeot with the 3-4 is slightly under, I'd say, but the Rapid definitely comes in quite nice. We haven't had any more of the icons. There's got to be another striker that I'm thinking of here. We obviously got Saka, Lamar, Talisca, Aubameyang, always a nice option, I must admit. Beasley, Keane, Woods, Nunez. So Nunez as well, 3 days left. Get him done. So I'd say for her, realistically, she's not going to be a future evolution because she's already 91. Unless they did one that isn't based on stats or based on heroes specifically and just got a bit more of an upgrade, I'd even say then she's usable. Like, she's definitely usable, but I think there is a lot better options. So I would kind of put her in a very... skeptical usable at this point. And to be honest, I think whether any of them are not necessarily completely usable is a big question. So for her, I'd say, oh no, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. We'll throw it in like that. So we'll go usable and very usable because I don't think she's in that sort of zone of kind of Z Roberto sort of standards. Even then, I could argue that she probably isn't usable really. But I do think with the stats that she's got, she's definitely all right for right now, especially with the playstyle plus the stats that she's got. I think she could be used for at least a couple of weeks and then potentially got off really. Guti is the next one. He was kind of one that was there, and I think he had the ability. Like, obviously had the incisive pass. That was a massive one already because having a playstyle plus at the start of the game was always fantastic. Now we're obviously looking at him with a bit of an upgrade on the pace, which is always fantastic. A little bit more on that passing and dribbling, which is good. The defensive physical is kind of just not his style. He is a 4-star, 5-star as well, so they've really gone up on that card. I think he genuinely puts himself about there. Now, chemistry styles, people are going to go with the engine, obviously, just to make him a more of a solidified box-to-box sort of playmaker-esque card. 86 pace, 92, 95. It's a fantastic card with the playmaker plus on the cam or the centre mid, which is fantastic to see. So I would definitely go with him into more the very usable. And to be fair to him, at 130,000, I think that's a pretty good price as well. We then go into a new goalkeeper. We obviously have got Tim Howard in this. So now, not every hero managed to get the origins. It was only a select few, I think 14 in total. Howard obviously comes in with a bit of an upgrade. He's managed to get more than a double, which is nice. It's gone from an 85 to an 89, so a quadruple upgrade on the card in himself. He still has got the playstyle plus of... I don't even know what that one's called, to be honest. Far throw. It's not my favourite. I don't personally think that that's the greatest. He has got everything else bar from far reach in normal playstyles. Weak foot, not really that fussed, to be honest. And stats. We know they have somewhat to do with it, but I think realistically everybody sticks to their kind of own cards anyway. He obviously has got a decent upgrade on him, so you can kind of be okay with that. I would personally go with Howard, and especially it would be more link-based, I'd go usable. Personally, because after playing X amount of games now, Courtois has been my favourite. Alisson, Edison are popping up left, right and centre. And then we're looking at icon keepers. I think Howard would have needed a bigger upgrade into the 90s to really put himself in the point where it's like, I'm going to take out a Courtois, who personally has my favourite playstyle, which is Rush Out. I think that's just great for mistakes in the defensive line compared to the far throw that I'm not necessarily a big fan of. Then we throw into another great player. I think Yapstam is an incredible addition into this game. Obviously extinct at 1.1. He's been seen in quite a lot of the tournaments as well, which was interesting. I believe the commentators said they hadn't really seen him too much. It's very hard to get. He's not necessarily an easy one, but he has got the stats to back it up. It's just a casual double upgrade for him. He's got the Bruiser Plus still, the 3-star weak foot and skill move now, which... again, has some viability to it. I like if I can have a 5-star weak foot on a centre back, I'll never turn it down, but it's not necessarily my biggest point. He has great composure on him. The defensive physical attributes are fantastic. I can imagine a lot of people are just going to go out and out pace for him, as he does have a solid amount of aggression strength already. So if you go with the Shadow, 97 defending, 93 pace, and a 93 overall centre back. So it's quite an easy one to say he's going to be in the top of the top if we're going quite easily there. We'll throw into another centre mid. We'll go into Williams. Not quite Williams Saliba, but we're going for Farah Williams. Now, she is a centre mid. She was obviously previously the same, and they didn't give her a different playstyle plus. Flair is useless. They didn't give her a 4-star, was it a 4-star skill move now? Didn't give him that. Didn't give her that, which is a bit of a shame as well. It's kind of like they dropped the ball on her a little bit. I think in terms of stats, she looks absolutely fantastic, but the skill moves not being up, the flair not being incredible, Guti's looking such a better option at only 60k more than what she is. Now, obviously, she has got stats, I'm not going to deny it, but I think at this point, with her being 88, some very good, well, high-rated stats most definitely, I would be arguing to potentially put her into a future evolution, as I think when we're looking at centre mids now, the weak foot's fantastic, but I really would need a better playstyle plus, especially when we are in a growing market where people are manipulating the incisive, the long ball, then having a finesse, a power shot that's going forward. For me, I think in general, she would be more of a future evolution or nah, because she just doesn't give what you need. Throwing into another centre mid, or I think he's a cam in fact, we go to Mohamed, I think it's Noor or Noir, I don't know how you pronounce it, definitely gonna butcher it at some point. Press proven. So already we've got the same playstyle plus. He has gone to a 4-4, which is fantastic. Very bog standard in terms of cards, and that's not only the price as well. He's coming in one of the cheapest origins, which just is what it is, to be honest. I think in terms of stats, it's got a nice array of them. The press proven's not necessarily my favourite. Rolls, he's got the playmaker there. Again, that would have looked really nice with even a tiki-taka, a long ball push. Even a pinged pass would have been fantastic of an upgrade, but I do think for me he would be kind of more of that future evolution that really comes in. And obviously with the heroes, I would more than likely go future evolution rather than the kind of bottom tier. I think that would kind of be now set to the lower informs, the lower special cards, because realistically, even with future evolutions, they won't be that good. Whereas with these, they're bound to get another upgrade on top. We're already seeing the next promo this coming Friday that's going to have heroes and icons. I know that these probably won't get in it because they've only just been upgraded, but that means their next upgrade is going to be even better. And also their body type tends to be that little bit better than gold cards. It's always the case. So let's throw in a bit of Hamsik now. We've obviously got a brand new card in him. With him personally, I really didn't expect him to get a hero. I thought he's definitely been an icon of not even FC 25, of all of the FIFAs back in the day. He was rocking in that Serie A midfield a lot with the De Rossis, with obviously the Marquisios back in his playing days. So I was really shocked to see him in there. But I mean, I'll absolutely take a different card every day of the week. And lovely cam. Comes in with Schneider as well. Schneider would have been a great hero in these origins. But he has got him 5-4, which is always good. He's got himself the power shot, which is always nice for a cam as well. We have got him as the half winger plus plus or the playmaker plus plus in that cam role. And in terms of stats, they're looking decent throughout. Great shooting, great passing, solid dribbling. Just needs that little bit more pace, which obviously people are going to go with the engine, just to get him a bit more agility balance, which is fine. You can make him controlled lengthy if you really wanted to, but realistically, he's going to be that player that is pulling the strings in the midfield. I don't necessarily have him running through on goal a crazy amount. He's going to be the person that waits on the edge of the box and you fire a power shot into. Obviously, Valverde has got a great stat with that as well. So I do think for him, he is going to be more into the very, very usable rather than necessarily that top meta, which we can go into because there's an obvious one here, and it's going to be Eden Hazard, in fact. He has a 90 rated card now, which is always brilliant. He's going to be one of them ones that I hope doesn't end up like Ribery. We saw many cards fall. Nedved's gone. You've obviously got Ribery. Did not get out the gates as much as I thought he would. Hazard, on the other hand, still has room for improvements. I'm not a technical fan. I do prefer the quick step at this point, but there is definitely a room that you can use him in. He's got great dribbling on the card. Still room for the 5-5 upgrade as well, which will definitely be in the near future. I'm kind of hoping he waits until Team of the Year Heroes. If we do get that this year, they are missing out. Team of the Year nominees, icons and heroes having a blast. That would be incredible. So I'm hoping he does manage to get into something. As I don't know if he ever did get a hero, a Team of the Year, but I want to say he might have done for Chelsea. I could be wrong. I know he's had multiple Team of the Seasons, but he could have had a Team of the Year, which I don't know if he did or not. Regardless, this card is always going to be fantastic. He's got the stats to back it up. Obviously, the pace is up there. The dribbling's fantastic. Great composure. People are going with a dead eye to just round his stats off. 94, 91. He's always going to be incredible. And another one that will be exactly the same is Maicon. Maicon is a great addition. I was gutted that he didn't get in here last year. I was surprised that he didn't become an icon, but I can kind of see it. They already had Carfu, they already had Alberto. Obviously, Carfu I know a little bit more about. Carlos Alberto, I have not a clue. Never seen a minute of him play. Whereas Maicon was kind of, it was definitely getting into his kind of later career as I was growing up, but you know the Serie A back then. We remember the Lucio, remember the Samuels. There was an incredible back line for Inter, and then Cesar as well. I'm hoping he becomes a keeper at some point. I'm waiting for Julius Cesar or Dida. Them two keepers are a must in this game, so I'm hoping eventually we do get them in to make that full back line. The only one that I couldn't remember that I can look up, but is the Inter left back. I can't remember who the left back was in that back line. You had Lucio, you had Samuel, the Argentinian. We had Maicon, Cesar. Cannot remember the left back. So if you know that comment, leave it down below. But Maicon is absolutely incredible. You could argue very usable, but I think he's brilliant at what he does. And if you need that attacking wing back as well, he has got you covered. And especially with the whipped pass, he got it on his base card and he was brilliant. We used him very early on into the game and he was absolutely fantastic. We then also have, I would say, Georges. We have Laura in the French centre-back variety, the Anticipate. Decent defensive stats. Obviously, the pace is the highlight here. Great defending physical. She is 5'8" with the free, which is fine. She's had a bit of an upgrade. It's kind of just a standard double twos. When we look at the composure, going up to 83, always nice to get as much composure as possible. And then obviously people are going to go more with the anchor to just round off as much as she can, really. So in terms of the roles, we're looking at the stopper plus, ball player or defender plus. I'm always personally a fan of the defender plus. I have been trying to test out a ball playing defender, but I've just not really got into my stride with it. Now, I don't think she's kind of going into that top meta, but she's definitely in the very usable at this moment in time, especially if you have a Virgil, someone a little bit taller next to her with the aerial plus to really just knock out all the headers, and she will basically mop up the rest. Which leads us to the final card, which is another French hero. I don't know why I wanted to say icon. Is Matuidi. Beautiful card. Absolutely loved him back in the day. I don't know if we're going to get... Yeah, we're not going to get too much of the generations as they stopped so far ago. But we did have him in FIFA 22, which is just crazy to see. I remember him again in the Serie A, absolutely ripping it up. He had so many nice cards that you could have gone. And looking back at some of these cards as well, being able to evolve them again would be a brilliant addition if they did that earlier, which is always nice to kind of reminisce on, but now we are focusing on this 88. Again, just a double upgrade. Some of them are pretty standard. He has got the pinged pass again, which is fine. 4-4 upgrade, which is brilliant. And I do think he's one of them CDMs that comes in quite well. His PSG days as well was another one that could have rocked out pretty well. I'm pretty sure back then we did have quite a nice PSG team. So when he ended up getting the upgrades, inevitably, he was always a top sort of guy. Personally, for me, I would go very usable. I think in the top meta, you're kind of fighting a Yaya Touré at this point. So let me know down below what you think about these. Have you managed to get any? I've got Carragher, so I'm praying for an evolution at some point. But let me know what you think, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.